Hey guys, my name is Deb Marnie and I'm from Aussie Maille. Welcome to our chainmail tutorial channel. Hey guys, big hi, hello, how are you? So pleased to see you here today. Thanks for popping in and spending some time with me. So today I'm doing the second kit of our March Maille Club subscription box. This one I'm calling the Australis Necklace. It's based, or it uses the weave Borealis unit, and I named it Australis because that is the name of the Southern Lights down here in Australia. So anyway guys, hope you enjoyed the video. Let's just jump straight into it. Okay, so here's a sample piece of the Australis necklace. Now it's a little big for this camera, but as you can see it's a bib style necklace and it uses the Borealis unit weave as the main part of it. Okay, so we're going to start on the bib section, and to do this we're going to close 6 of our medium rings and feed those rings onto a small ring, and then we want to close that small ring up. Now if you are having difficulty putting 6 on there and closing your small ring up, just put on as many as you can of that 6, close your small ring, and then you can add the additional rings that you need afterwards. But we just need 6 medium rings on our small ring, and then we're going to take up one of our large rings and we're going to feed that through one of the smalls, pairs of smalls, and we're going to do that all the way around so that we've placed a total of 3 large rings onto our small rings, onto our medium rings I should say. Okay, and one more. So we've got 3 large rings in place. And now what we want to do, we take up another large ring, and this time we want to put it through 2 small rings, 2 medium rings again, but we want it from neighbouring pairs. So one through here and one through here to join those 2, or to link those 2 pairs together. And we do that all the way around our piece again. Okay, so there's our first one, and our second one goes through one from here and the remaining ring on that one. And then we just want to place one more ring to finish joining that circle all the way up. Okay, so that's what our work looks like at the moment. Now we want to flip this over to the other side, and we want to do the same on the other side so that we lock the same rings on the other side together. Okay, so find that pair, put the large ring through, lock it up. Okay, so it looks like this now. So we've sort of got 3 rows of large rings going around our work. So just go ahead and place the next 2. Okay, and one more. Okay, so your work should look like this at the moment. And what we then want to do is to lock these in place by feeding some small rings through the eye here at the top. So exactly the same spot where the small rings, oh sorry, the medium rings are there, we want to feed another set of medium rings in there as well to lock it all into place. So make sure you go through all 3 of the rings. Okay, and just work your way around your piece until you have placed all locking rings. Okay, so there's your completed Borealis unit. So what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take a twist tie. You can use a paper clip or a piece of wire, whatever you like. I'm just doing this so that I'm marking my top left corner, and I'm just going to put that through one of the single rings. Doesn't matter which one, choose whichever one you want, but that then becomes our top left hand corner of our piece. Okay, so I'm now going to work, this bib is done in rows, so I'm going to work across the top row, and I'm just going to create another Borealis unit, but using the rings that we already have in place. So I'm not going to make another complete unit. I'm going to use some of these rings here as part of the next unit. So we're sort of sheeting it across, okay? So to do that, I'm going to grab 2 of our medium rings, and I'm going to feed it. So we've got this single ring here with our twist tie in it. I'm going clockwise around. I'm going to the next single ring here, the one up on the top right, and I'm going to place 2 of our medium-sized rings in there. And I'm also going to go down to the next double unit, the next double rings immediately after that, and put 1 of our medium rings in there. Okay, so these rings here now form part of our next Borealis unit. So next up we need to pre-close 3 medium rings. Okay, so if you don't have them pre-closed, close them up now. So we need 3 of these, and we're going to pop these 3 pre-closed rings onto a small ring. Okay, so put those onto there, and then we're going to take our small ring, we're not closing it yet, we're going to come back here, we've got this here in our top left hand corner, we've got 3 rings on here, we need 6 for a center, remember from the beginning. So what we're going to do is we're going to pick up this single ring here, so that's 4. We're going to put up this ring here that's already in the weave, one of the ones we put through the eye, that's 5, and we're going to pick up 1 of those pair of single rings that's coming off there, and then we're going to close our small ring up. So again, if you're having difficulty closing it with that many rings on it, don't put those 3 rings on first. You can put those 3 rings on, these new rings on last. Just go through those 3 rings that you need in the weave and then add those 3 later, whatever's best for your comfort level. All right, so now we want to place our 3 single large rings. So we've already got 1 in our weave, that's this one here, the one from the previous, so that's 1. We want to go to the next pair of medium rings off our small ring. That becomes our 2nd large ring. Now we need to place a 3rd, okay, because we had 3 of our single large rings, and to do that we need to slot in here in between this pair of rings here. So we go into there, okay, keeping this in our top left hand corner. We go in here and we come up and we pick up that medium ring there that's in the weave, this one just here, and then we pick up the one that's loose, the remaining one that's on our small ring, and we close that up. Okay, so we've now got our 3 single large rings in there, and as we did before, we now want to create our doubles. So we've got 1 double already in place, so we need to take another large ring and we're going to join our 2 singles together. Okay, so through the single rings that are hanging off the small ring, and at this stage we want to pick up that extra single ring that we added earlier. It's up there at the top. Okay, and we close that up. And then we want to place another double ring over here, or what will be a doubled ring over there. So we just go in and pick those up like we would normally. Okay, so your work looks like this. Now we need to flip this over because we need to double those 2 rings that we just placed. So flip it over and place 2 more large rings through the same paths, okay, as the one that's on the other side. So make sure you're picking up all the rings that you need, all the medium rings that you need to. Okay, so this one needs to go through, actually go through 3. Okay, so going back to the front of our work, it should now look like this. Now we want to lock everything into place by putting those locking rings into the eyes. So we need to place 1, 2, 3, 4 at this stage. So just take up those medium rings, open one up and feed it through each of the eyes in your work that don't have a medium ring in them yet. Okay. One in there, and sorry about that. We need to place 1 more just here. Okay, so we've got all of our rings in place, and we've got 2 of our units in there. Now we want to keep going as we have been until we've got a total of, we've created 6 units. So the easiest way to see how many units you've got, I find, is to count the center ring. So we want to go across 1, 2, I'll show you here on this one. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So you just repeat all those steps again from where we added the second unit. So we want to go here to our first single ring over here, and we're going to place 2 of our medium rings in there. Okay, and then 1 medium ring into the pair that immediately follows, the pair there. Then we're going to take up another 3 pre-closed medium rings, pop them on a small ring, and we're going to then feed our small ring onto our single ring down here, medium ring that's in the eye there, and 1 of our pairs of medium rings up there, so that we've got a total of 6 medium rings on our small ring. Again, if you can't finding difficulty closing it with that many rings on there, you don't have to put these ones on first. You can close that ring through the 3 that are on the weave and add those later, as long as you've got 6 medium rings going through that small ring, plus you've got this extra one up here at the top. Okay, so again, we want to place our 3 single large rings. We've got 1 already in place, so then we place our next one into the next 2 free medium rings. We close it up, and we want to place our 3rd single large ring. So again, this one has to go through the middle of the 2 that are already in weave. So we go in the middle of them, just like that, okay, between them, and we make sure we pick up that medium ring that is in the weave there, and we pick up the next medium ring, the final one that's loose on our small. Okay, and we close that up. Okay, so that's our 3 single large rings, 1, 2, 3, and now we want to put the layer of joining double ones. So we've already got 1 in weave over here, so we move to the next ones that we want to join, which is this one here. So we go through those 2 medium rings that are coming off the center ring, and then we also make sure that we go through that extra ring that we've got hanging off there. Okay, and we close that up. And we want to place 1 more large ring on this side. So again, we go down here to our 2 singles, and we want to join them together. We put our large ring through the medium rings just like that, and close them up. Okay, so that's those 2 rings placed on that side. We need to flip our work over and place large rings through the same spot on the other side of our work. Okay, so we just go through those 2 just there. Okay. And then the other one we want to double is over here, and we want to make sure we go through the 3 of the medium rings that are in the weave already. Okay, so just go through those 3 rings. Okay, so we've got all our large rings in place, so now all we want to do is lock them in place by putting medium rings through the remaining eyes on that piece. Okay, 2 more. So there now we've got 3 sections in place. So keep going like that all the way along until you have a total of 6 sections. And when you've done that, I'll meet you back here to show you how we do the next row. Okay, so you've got your 6 units across the top. Now, I've only got 4 here, but you will have 6 for your necklace. I'm just doing a shorter piece here so I can show you. Okay, so we're going to start the second row, and to do that we need to place 2 medium rings here. So we've got our left one up here in the corner, okay? 2 medium rings off this single ring here and 2 medium rings off this single ring. Okay, so go ahead and do that now. So that's 2 off that one, and we need 2 off the next single ring. Okay, so you've got your pair of M rings coming off your single rings there. Take up a small ring, and onto that pop 2 of your pre-closed M rings, medium rings, and then take this ring and we're going to feed it through the inside ring here of the first pair, those 2 rings up there already in weave, and then the inside one of this. So we want this ring to go through a total of 6 again. So 4 in weave and 2 here. Again, if you feel you're going to have difficulty with this, don't pop these first 2 on, just go through the 4 rings. So 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the 2 I popped on is 5 and 6, and then come in and close that up. So you've got your center ring in place and you've got 6 medium rings coming off. All right, so we want to place our single sets of large rings first. So we've already got 2 in place. We've got 1, 2. We only need to place 1 more, and we put that large ring on these 2 loose medium rings here. Okay, so just take up an open large ring, feed it through those 2 medium rings that you just added, and close your ring up. Okay, so that's all our single large rings in place. So now we want to add our doubled. We've already got 1 set of doubled rings up here, so we need to just add 2 more sets. So to do that, we're just going to take up a large ring, and starting here on the leftmost side, we want to pick up our loose medium ring here that we've still got floating around. So we pick that up by going through the front of it so that it lies like this. Okay, we don't want to pick it up this way. We want to go through here like this, and then pick up our medium ring there in the middle, and then pick up medium ring from the next pair. And we want to close that up. Okay, so your work will look like that. And then we want to add 1 more large ring over here. Okay, so we go through 1, 2, 3 medium rings. Okay, 1, 2, and then 3. Okay, so our work looks like this. Now we want to flip this over to the other side to finish doubling those 2 rings up. So again, we put 1 here and 1 here to finish up those doubled. Make sure you're going through the same path as you did on the other side, picking up 3, this time 3 medium rings for each one. Okay, so there's 1 placed, and we want to place 1 more. Okay, so this is what our work looks like, and to finish it off we need to lock these 2 rings here in place with medium rings. So just feed your medium ring through the eye and close it up. Same over here. Okay, so we've placed the first unit in our second row. As you can see, it comes down as a triangle. We'll actually place 1 unit less each row. So we placed 6 units in total for the top row. This row is going to have 5 units in place. All right, so to place the second unit in this row, you want to place 2 rings here, 2 medium rings here off the double, and then 2 medium rings here off the single. Okay, so to do that, and then again up here on the single. Okay, so your work should look like this. Then we want to take up another small ring, and this time we only want to pop one pre-closed ring onto it. And then we need to pick up, because we need 6 on here, we need to pick up 5. So we pick up the innermost small medium ring there, the 3 that are already in weave, and then 1 of the pairs that we put on the single ring, and we close that up. Okay, so we've now got a total of 6 medium rings coming off our small center ring, and we need to place one single ring, because we've got a single ring here, a single large ring here. We need to place one more single large ring to make up this unit, and to do that we're going to have to come in between this pair here. We're going to have to pick up this single ring here as well. So we also want to pick up this remaining single ring over here, so we go through the front of it between our large rings. Okay, sorry about that. Bring it all around, bring it back out, going through the medium ring there, and then through that loose medium ring as well. Okay, make sure you pick that one up. We close that up. So that's our 3 center rings placed, and now we want to place our double rings. Now we've already got 2 of those double rings in weave. We've got 1 there and we've got 1 there, so we only need to place 1 more set of double rings. So we go through the 2 medium rings here that are off the center, and we need to pick up this medium ring over here as well. So just go straight through those medium rings there, and then make sure we pick up that medium ring just like that. We close that up. Okay, so your work looks like that. We want to flip our work over because we need to double that ring up on the other side. So we just take up 1 more large ring, and we go through same path. Make sure you're picking up all the same single rings, medium rings, and close that up. Okay, so there's the second unit done. To finish that off, we need to place just 1 locking ring in there, which we'll do now. And then you just continue like that to the end of the row, where you will place a total of 5 units. Okay. And then you just keep repeating those steps. So you've got 5 units here, 6 units here, 5 units here. The next one you do the same as you did in the second row, but this time we've only got 4 units. The next one has got 3 units, the next one has got 2, and the following one has just the 1 unit that you need to do. So if you go ahead and finish doing that up, and then I can show you how to finish off your necklace. So for tutorial's sake, just imagine that I've gone ahead and I've created the bib in full, and I want to now add the part that actually goes around our neck. So I'm now going to remove the twist tie from the corner up there, and to that spot I'm going to add 2 of our medium rings. Okay, so there's 1. I can get a good closure. 1 and 2. Okay, and then to those medium rings I'm going to add a pair of our large rings. Okay. And then all you need to do is separate out those large rings, so you've got one either side. Fold them all the way back against your work. And then what you want to do is you want to separate out your medium rings and pull those large rings all the way through. Okay, so separate the medium rings so they fall one each side of your work, and pull those large rings all the way up so that they pop up like that. Okay, and then what you want to do is you want to grab 2 more medium rings and feed those onto those large rings. Okay, so straight through there like that. So there's 1 and 2. And then what we want to do here is we want to have those medium rings fall one each side of our large rings, and we're going to take up another large ring. We're going to feed it down from the top. It's going to go between the large rings that are already in weave, but on its way down it's going to pick up this medium ring here on the right, and then as we come back up it comes up through the bottom of the medium ring there on the left. Okay, so that it gets locked in place with those rings, and we close that up. Okay, so your work should look like this. And then to continue the chain, we add 2 medium rings to our large ring. Once we've added our medium rings, we add 2 large rings to them. Okay, just go straight through the medium rings. Once we've added those 2 rings, we separate them out, so there's 1 on each side of our piece. We fold them all the way back up against each other. We separate our medium rings so that they fall 1 on each side, and we pull our large rings all the way out so that everything gets positioned like that. And we just continue as we have been. So as we did before, we add 2 more medium rings. And then we position those medium rings 1 on each side of the double rings. We take up another of our large rings. We come down from the top. We go in between our 2 large rings that are already in place. We scoop up that first medium ring there on the right, and as we come back up, we scoop up the medium ring there on the left so that it's all locked into place. You can see that. And we close that up, and we just keep repeating those steps, guys, until you've reached the length that you need it to be. And then you pop over to the other side of your brace of your bib and you do the same thing again. So eventually you'll end up with 2 strands of chain. Now I've got, to make up mine, I've got 13 of each of these, so 13 pairs and 13 single rings on each side of my chain. To just finish up, I finished up with single rings, and I've put a medium ring in and then popped my lobster clasp on that, and then of course just a medium ring on the other end to close our lobster clasp onto. And then just to finish it all off, I added a teardrop bead at the bottom. So I just used a 20 gauge 0.8 millimeter 4.5 millimeter ID ring to go through my teardrop. That may vary depending on the bead you've got, whatever works for the bead or pendant that you're dropping off, and just put that on the point of your necklace. There you go, guys, it's all done. Your Australis necklace using the Borealis unit weave. Okay guys, well that's it. That's the video tutorial today. I hope you enjoyed it and that you have a lovely new necklace to wear. If you did enjoy the video, guys, don't forget to give it a thumbs up, share it, comment, or ask any questions you like below. If you're not a subscriber, hit the subscribe button. Check out some of our other content while you're here. And last but definitely not least, guys, don't forget to give our little shop link up here a bit of love. The more love you give it, the more likely we are to keep going with these videos for you. All right, guys, thanks again for popping in, and I will catch up with you next time. Bye.